Victorian fashion wasn't just about corsets and crinolines, it was a revolutionary art movement that transformed clothing into wearable masterpieces. Between 1860 and 1900, the aesthetic movement emerged as a radical rebellion against the ugliness of industrialization, declaring that beauty itself was the highest purpose of art. This philosophy didn't stop at paintings and poetry. It revolutionized the very clothes people wore, turning the human body into a living canvas. The movement's battle cry was art for art's sake, championed by figures like Oscar Wilde, who famously toured America in '82, wearing velvet knee breeches and silk stockings, shocking audiences while preaching the gospel of beautiful design. Wilde believed that flowing robes of classical lines would liberate both sexes from the tyranny of restrictive Victorian fashion. His flamboyant aesthetic dress became a visual manifesto, proving that clothing could be as meaningful as any painting hanging in a gallery. At the heart of this sartorial revolution stood William Morris, the visionary designer whose textile patterns remain iconic today. Morris and his company created flowing organic designs for fabrics and embroideries that rejected the harsh aniline dyes and machine-made ugliness of the industrial age. His wallpapers weren't mere decoration, they were abstract art, with interlocking patterns that celebrated hand craftsmanship and natural beauty. Morris believed that the triumph of beauty in everyday objects, including clothing, could transform society itself. The Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood provided artistic inspiration, with painters like Dante Gabriel Rossetti and Edward Burne-Jones depicting women in loose, uncorseted, medieval-inspired gowns. These paintings became blueprints for real-world fashion. Women in artistic circles began wearing aesthetic dress, simple, high-waisted gowns made from Liberty silks and soft colors derived from natural dyes, lemon, sage green, salmon pink, and deep purple. These dresses featured large puffed sleeves, long draping skirts, and often a watteau back, a cascade of fabric falling from the neckline to the floor like a waterfall of silk. Liberty and Kona became the commercial heart of aesthetic fashion. Arthur Lazenby Liberty opened his Regent Street shop in 18, importing soft oriental silks that played with light in ways stiff Victorian fabrics never could. In 18, he established the artistic and historic costume studio, offering gowns with names like Athene and Josephine that referenced classical Greek and Empire styles. These weren't eccentric costumes. They were carefully designed garments that adapted historical beauty to modern life. The aesthetic dress movement was deeply intertwined with dress reform and early feminism. Reformers argued that women's health suffered under the weight of multiple petticoats and constricting corsets. Aesthetic dress offered liberation, tea gowns that could be worn without corsets while entertaining at home, featuring hand-worked smocking and embroidery inspired by wildflowers and countryside motifs. These garments evoked an imaginary rural simplicity while making a radical political statement about women's bodily autonomy. By the 1880s, aesthetic fashion had permeated mainstream culture enough to be satirized in Gilbert and Sullivan's operetta Patience, yet its influence proved lasting. The movement's emphasis on natural materials, quality craftsmanship, and the integration of art into daily life laid the groundwork for 20th century fashion as art. When we see fashion in museums today, We're witnessing the legacy of Victorian aesthetes who dared to believe that what we wear on our bodies deserves the same reverence as what we hang on our walls.